Let everybody in.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
You need to sign, you got a sign in sheet for them.
Yes, it's going.
Yeah, it's
Ready?
going around.
It's water. Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Ready? Okay,
Well, you might just getting rid of that for a while. Since the meeting is being.
I thought I had done it. But I didn't. Look at the hand up against you. Yeah. Okay. First item on the agenda is the public hearing. So let's,
There was no official call to order.
yeah, I know, usually we have a public hearing before, but
Oh, okay.
if you want, we can call the meeting to order and then we have a public hearing.
I would like that. Thank you.
Okay. So I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:01. First item on the agenda is the public hearing on the zoning amendments, local law number 1 of 2026. Is there anyone who'd like to comment? Either in the present company or on the screen? Ted?
Hi, thank you. I've given you a few comments while you were discussing the zoning amendments leading up to this. I think it probably is too late for any last minute comments to make any difference in what you intend to enact. I think there is some good stuff in it, and there are some things whose long-term goodness will be determined as time passes. So I wish you luck with it.
Yes. Anyone else? Did you have a comment?
I would just like to talk about it during the discussion.
Okay. Hearing none, then let us, none additional, close the public hearing and move on. Additions or deletions to the agenda? I've heard it voiced that we should perhaps postpone dealing with the meeting room policy revision. Yes, yes. So it's not added then. Anything else? Okay, privilege of the floor. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board on any subject?
I would.
My goodness, yes.
I had a whole thing planned in my head, but I wanted to thank the board for their patience with me as I am getting my footing in the many ways that involves, including making sure the items are linked on the agenda rightly. That did not happen until 5:30 tonight, but that's why the agenda is tentative until the start of the meeting. And I would encourage you all to reach out if you have any questions. I know we have some new board members. And as I am, new to the clerk role, I implore you to foster an open communication with me. I know that the role of clerk has always been a sort of fluctuating one, as much as that is to my chagrin as well as to others at times. That fluctuation can be a lot. So I would encourage us to all have that communication openly. I think for the most part it has been, and I'd encourage us to continue doing that. I really appreciate it. And yes, that's all I have to say.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
I do.
And so do
Wow.
I. Rebecca's been very, very receptive to communications of all kinds.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Ted?
Yes. Three things. First is a request. You don't have to do it, but it it might improve the public's perception on Zoom. It's probably best for board members not to sit with their backs to the camera. Sorry. Second, I'd like to acknowledge what Blake just said. It's a learning process, and I'll point out that on the two things. On the meeting agenda, the link given for this meeting is not for this meeting. It's for the one that you held previously, a special meeting.
Yeah.
And the link for the second set of meeting minutes, January 15th, doesn't work. So I wasn't able to review the minutes, but fortunately, and Blake stepped right up into this, he was able a few days ago to give me the access to the recording. And I listened through it, listened to parts of it. And I'd like to make a suggestion for the board that it's you may not hear it this way, but it's intended to improve your meetings, to try and keep misinformation and personal prejudices out of meetings. This was not during privilege of the floor, but during announcements which are limited to official statements by board members, I believe. One board member, and I'll name no names because I don't intend to embarrass anyone, made a few incorrect and prejudicial statements. First of all, it was stated correctly that an article appeared in a Ithaca Voice online. Incorrect statement was that only one person was talked to. In fact, two were, and that should be perfectly obvious from the fact that two people were quoted. So that's incorrect. A second incorrect statement was that the reporter wasn't told about the first webmaster. In fact, since I was one of the two people who was interviewed, I can tell you with certainty that I spent quite a bit of time off the record with that reporter, telling him about the history of the Danby website. And my point, and I stressed this to him many times, the reason I wanted to be off the record is that on the record, it becomes a whole lot more complicated issue than the article makes it out to be. And certainly the person who spoke knows this for a fact. And I provided a lot of information asking, please keep this off the record. But I do not want you to leave people with a misimpression. Something that I would call personal prejudice was a statement that the first webmaster graciously ceded the domain name. That is correct. The implication of that, however, is that perhaps that wasn't the case at other times. And if you consider the reality of what went on, it was not a case where there was an opportunity to graciously cede it. And I think everyone who was there knows that. Joel, I'd love to have a chat with you offline because you made some statements that I wonder where you got your information since you weren't involved at all. You weren't a member of the board in 2014. You were a member of the planning board, but I'm pretty sure you weren't involved in this in any way, and you made statements. Personally, I'd just love to talk to you and see where you got the information. And thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, speaking of correspondence,
I have not received anything.
okay. Anybody have any announcements?
I'm not sure if this is the right time, but I know that I'm going to miss the next meeting. And I think that you said that you would too. So maybe we could do it at the end, but maybe we should check in about that. I could join virtually, but I wouldn't be able to count towards quorum.
Right, but if you, with advance notice, if you're giving it right now.
Well, I think we'll be in New York. We could conceivably join by Zoom. We'll be busy.
We need an
there'll be-
informed person in order to have a meeting. though.
Yeah, that's why I'm raising it, because it seems like three of us might not be in person for the next meeting.
This would make it a non-meeting. Hmm,
We could think of a different day.
Yeah.
How about the 24th?
the calendar, you.
24th is the Tuesday following, there's the BZA meeting prospectively.
Right.
But that is,
Maybe switch it to Thursday. I don't, we're gonna be back on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll be back Wednesday night.
Thursday, no, I've got something on Thursday, unfortunately.
Monday,
Friday?
That Monday would work. Oh,
No,
but you're-
we're
you guys are
we're
still-
out of
you
town.
guys are out.
I mean, following.
The
Monday.
following.
Oh, the 23rd?
That works for me.
23rd.
Monday, the
23rd.
23rd.
Would that be, how many,
There's a meeting right after the next week.
I was gonna say, when's the next meeting after
The
that?
next week.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of, so we have a meeting a week apart. Do we back up?
Well, we could
We have the same
have
issue, right?
checks, you know, have a short meeting.
could we meet on that
Friday.
Friday, the 20th? It's not the best way to spend
Ooh,
a Friday
Friday.
night, but
Yeah.
No, but some of us don't have any social life anyway, so.
Speak for yourself. 20th.
Friday the 20th.
I will still be out of town. I could probably join virtually, but as long as there'd be 4
Yeah,
people.
as long as you guys are back, then we can at least have a quorum.
Yeah.
Okay, well then to do this, we need a motion.
I move that we change the second meeting in February to the 20th.
At 6. Yes,
Yeah,
second that. Any more discussion about it?
all right.
You're messing up our beautiful point.
All right. Connors, Dylan,
Yeah.
Larkins,
Yes.
Bruce, Canyon,
Yes,
thank you.
we're gonna put that on the calendar.
yeah, right, exactly.
I'll send an email out afterwards if that would be helpful.
Right, plus we'll have to give official notice that we moved it.
Yes,
Okay,
be on the website.
meeting minutes. We have them up to the minute changes, right?
Yes.
I did remark, well, Leslie has some suggestions, but did they get incorporated?
Yes.
The easiest way to do these is to actively suggest, and document in Teams what you'd like the language changed to, which means you need to get access to Teams.
Hopefully this week.
Yeah.
I
So
move
with
that we
that-
approve January 5th meeting minutes.
Just that,
Well, somebody may have,
we're doing
did
it.
anybody have anything on either one of them? Did we want to do both of them?
I'm okay with those
Comments?
because, we have, I had comments, but they got incorporated except for stuff.
Maybe I wouldn't approve those comments.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they were incorporated when you looked at it, probably.
okay. I revised my motion. I move that we approve the January 5th and the January 15th meeting minutes.
And I second that. Any discussion? Okay,
Connors?
Yes.
Dylan,
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Canyon?
yes,
Thank you.
we've got the clerk report, code officer's report, but not the supervisor's report, as not noticed, because Laura was away.
Right.
Makes sense. On to the warrants. We still have 2 sets of abstracts.
I move. Abstract 27, general fund. Vouchers 540 through 541 for $1,908.01.
A second.
Any questions?
All right. Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Canyon?
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay.
what's the like to do these?
Hmm?
Leslie likes to do this.
Abstract 27 with West Danby Water District, there was an issue with that. I'm sure you all noticed. There was a problem with the addition. The voucher number 98 should have been $55.34.
Was it paid sales tax?
No, it just was added.
Oh.
Just was added wrong.
Merrill did that? Merrill did that?
Yeah.
Huh, that's amazing.
I don't see the documentation with that. Is there documentation with that one?
It's in the vouchers.
It should be in the voucher
Just separate
folder,
from
right?
the
Oh, it's separate from the other voucher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 3 items on a Lowe's charge,
Mhm.
and on the receipt, there was tax, so it just made me look a little
Mhm.
harder. She didn't include the tax
Yeah. That's
on the
good.
voucher.
Yeah.
But the 3 things didn't add up to
$60.
$60.26. It added up to $55.34. So we can either approve it for the 55.34, or she needs to wait.
I don't see any reason why they can't prove
Right.
55.34.
Sorry, I'm in the vouchers folder. I clicked on abstract 27
No,
SW.
98. Oh, abstract
Yeah,
27, I'm
Abstract
sorry.
27 SW, there's
Yeah.
the abstract and there's just a 1-page
You're in the
PDF.
are you in the vouchers?
I'm in the
Cause
voucher.
Leslie saw it.
Yeah,
Well, I come here and do it.
Oh,
yeah, I see this. The 6026 is what shows up.
6026 with no documentation
no
added to it.
documentation?
Yeah, it might
Yeah.
not.
There's no receipt attached to that?
No,
It
it's
might
just the
not
one
have been
page.
added, scanned folder. I can go run and get that for you if you'd like.
No, I mean, it should be there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Logged.
Yeah.
I don't particularly need to see
Yeah.
it, but I noticed.
I'll
that.
make sure it's.
Oops, okay, so that receipt wasn't available for everybody.
Well, good on you for looking at it.
So anyway, I move that we approve abstract 27, West Danby Water District voucher number 98 for a corrected amount of $55.34.
I'll second.
Ready?
Connors,
Yes.
Dylan,
Yes.
Larkin,
Yes.
Cruz.
Yes.
Scandian.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's my adding right there.
This is,
I didn't even use a calculator.
This is, you don't have a son.
Okay, do we vote on that?
Yeah, we just did. Yeah.
Abstract 3 for general fund, vouchers 24 through 42 for $30,849.03.
Second.
There were 3 things added,
Yeah, so we're, that's the cybersecurity.
cyber, not cyber.
Yeah.
Cyber.
Cyber security. Insurance.
Richard, the cleaning, the cleaner, and then the solar power sunvestment.
Yeah. Bill for solar generation. Bill for solar generation.
Yeah.
Which arrived at the last minute, which is why I didn't look
Yeah.
at it before.
Yeah, I think I saw it as soon as I walked in this morning, so.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're not obligated to include things at the last minute like that, but,
Yeah,
I know.
but the
It is kind of-
cybersecurity insurance.
It is kind of a
huge.
drag, especially if you have to work during the day and then you get home
Yeah,
and have to
scramble to find the,
deal with
Yeah.
the changes.
wait, was that a motion?
That was a motion.
Did it have a second?
yes, a second.
Yeah. Any other discussion?
I just have a question, because I'm curious. The Williamson Law Book is 643, and that's for a highway.
You're being hacked. Please shut the meeting now. You're being hacked. Please shut the meeting now.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yep.
Wow, man.
Oh,
Got it, got it.
Oh, no, not that one.
There we go.
Wow, there we go.
Okay, now you can just say.
That's a
five.
first.
Okay.
All right.
That's exciting.
Jeez, what a distraction.
Whoops. What happened?
Oh, dear.
How
I
did
think
that-
if you just,
Is it just on the-
it just minimized, just. push
Zoom
it.
down on the bottom there.
Down, the Zoom down at the bottom.
There.
There we go.
And could you give us a
okay.
thumbs up if you can hear us?
Excellent.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You had a comment though, if you have,
No, let's,
no,
just, I mean, oh, did we
Let's-
vote on this?
Let's have
No,
Mark.
I think
Well-
my question was answered.
was it? Okay.
Oh, okay, the Williamson.
Yeah.
There's many different
Oh.
aspects of Williamson software.
Right, I'll ask more
Yeah.
questions later. It's not an official one. We
Yeah.
can proceed.
It's not the will of the body to let take comments. Is that what you're saying?
I think we should move on.
All right,
We're gonna be here all night.
it is a long agenda. We have to have a vote on this matter, however. Big ready.
Okay, Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Gagnon?
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay.
one more.
I'll move abstract 3 for highway fund vouchers 3 through 9 or $31,061.71.
Second.
Any comment? Question? Okay,
Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Gagnon?
yes,
Thank you.
on to the business of the meeting. First one, consider enacting the zoning amendments for which we had the public hearing moments ago. There's a two-stage process to this, is there not? First is the secret determination, but. And Craig produced, had produced a accompanying resolution. I don't have in front of me, but if you want to.
Do you want me to put anything up, or do you all look at it and want to just?
Well, Zach had his comments you want to make.
I have a question about it. I've looked at it multiple times and it really hasn't occurred to me until recently. The setbacks
Mhm,
in the hamlet, in the Hamlet neighborhood
mhm,
are 60-foot backyards
mhm,
with 10-foot side yards.
mhm.
60-foot backyard backed up to a 60-foot backyard is a huge amount of space.
It is, yeah, I agree.
And if we're doing density and there's no minimum size, you could, I mean, there obviously needs to be something for a backyard of a building, but side yards, I mean, think of like a brownstone or something.
Yeah.
You have buildings, just as long as they meet fire code, they can be
Right, yeah.
touching each other.
Mhm.
So what is there a reason? I'm guessing that was discussed at some point, but.
Would you like to speak to that? Because I have the same concerns about the rear setback.
I had brought it up during the regulatory review of, if the intent is to create hamlet scale development, the setbacks are pretty large. I think there was a point raised about why the rear setback was so large, maybe if there were kind of gridded streets that you'd want a little bit more separation between structures. But yeah, I mean, to get a more kind of more flexibility on lots, I mean, you can reduce the setbacks to zero. They just have to meet fire code, it would allow buildings to be wall to wall.
Yeah,
With property lines running through them, but this is ultimately a decision for the town board.
I mean, I would be fine with reducing it, but that would be substantive change, right? Or would it?
I think that'd be a call from you all in terms of then renoticing.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's a good question. I don't know. In the Board of Zoning Appeals world, substantial is a deviation of 20% or more. So reducing it from 10 to say 5 or 10 to 0 would certainly be substantial in that lens.
Mm-hmm.
But
Reducing it from 60 to what?
20.
Or less.
That would be substantial.
in terms of when the Board of Zoning Appeals
Right.
reviews a variance, I
Right.
don't know in terms of when there's a local law at hand for zoning regulations. And there's a amendment to modify a setback, is that considered substantial? I'm not sure, it could, if you wanna be. It's a couple paths, I mean, if you wanna err on the side of caution, you could continue the public hearing to next
Just
meeting.
close it.
You just sort of
Okay.
keep it open, make the change, renotice it. That's one option.
What do you think? What would you suggest, Ken?
Well, that's why I'm kind of having it as an open discussion, because I thinking about it in American terms, think about 10 houses in a row, back to back. That is a whole football field of just open space, which is lovely. But like, if you want to do an ADU or something behind your home, that's another 60 feet you have to add on. So you're just creating more and more open space.
Yeah. I mean, you still would have to you still have to accommodate water and wastewater.
Correct.
Regardless, so I mean, if a postage stamp lot doesn't have, but there are engineered solutions for these things.
There are, and also I believe we're talking about potentially sewering.
Yes, that's right.
This town.
Yeah. So,
Did it have to do with parking in the back? I mean, for businesses or?
I don't know, because this Hamlet zoning was created before my time here, so I had asked the question at one point late in the process with the regulatory review committee of.
Yeah.
While we're looking at setbacks and the modification of this, getting rid of the maximum setback. Having 10-foot side setbacks doesn't actually create, well, I mean, to some Hamlet scale, but you're still at 20 foot between buildings.
yeah,
Well,
it depends on what you're
I mean, it
doing.
is, right, like to probably most people in Danby, that's very, very close. I mean,
Yeah.
20 feet is, to this wall here.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
But really trying to, if the goal is to, I mean, that 20 feet could actually add another unit.
Yeah.
So if the goal is to allow, more housing or development to happen in the hamlet, reducing the setbacks is just one kind of piece of that.
mhm.
And other things will be taken care of. I mean, in terms of.
Fire separation would take precedence in any
Right.
event. So if you're gonna
Right.
put a house next to a house, if they're both wood frame buildings,
10 feet,
they're gonna have to be 10 feet apart anyway.
which is what Whitehall does.
Right. In terms of wastewater absent municipal sewer, that's just part of the development equation that any developer or homeowner, just call them a developer, developing a lot, would have to figure out. So
Right.
even if the setback, let's just say it's 5 feet on all sides. And, they have to, adding in a septic system is part of their development of that lot. So they would have to just accommodate that anyway.
Mhm. Unless it was sort of.
Right.
Yeah. And water. But I mean, it would allow maximum flexibility. and encourage the objective of minimizing wasted space.
I mean, in the Hamlet core, it makes sense to, maybe. Either not having setbacks or having them, all be 5-10 feet all the way around. But the Hamlet neighborhood, maybe 10 on the sides and 20 in the back or something. Hamlet neighborhoods go down some roads pretty far.
Yeah.
Right now, they're currently in the Hamlet neighborhood, it's 10 on the sides and 30 feet in the rear.
30.
Right, and in the Hamlet center, I'm sorry, 60 feet in the rear.
Okay.
Sorry, in the Hamlet neighborhood, 10, 10, it's
And 60.
10 and 60.
Right.
In the Hamlet center, it's 10 and 30.
I just will note that there is a request to comment from the audience.
Well,
Is that left over, or is that?
That is recent.
The recent one?
It's the chair's determination whether.
Yeah.
So if it's, I think, I mean, is there a suggestion for these, if it's 10 and 60 in one district and 10 and 30 in another, they're kind of a proposal of let's reduce it to this. And then what, either continuing the public hearing, renoticing to Tompkins County, to state parks, to general public.
Well, we have to agree what we want first.
Yeah.
What's your preference?
I mean, it
sounds like you would be happy if we didn't have any setbacks at all.
I mean, it's hard because it really, like, at least side setbacks, if you're having businesses come in and you're doing a row, say a business with 2 levels apartments up top is always the dream that you want to see exist. But if you have that and it's another little one, it just looks like bad Pete. If you don't have that ability, it's not going to be people like chomping at the bit to come here and do it. But this isn't thinking like now, this is always thinking like 20, 30, 50 years out.
Three.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't. The neighborhood, I don't, what,
Yeah, I can.
thank you, I was gonna say.
Let me get a map here.
We have a core, we have a neighborhood.
I'm
Wait,
pulling
want
up a
screen
map.
share?
Yeah, I'll screen share. I just want to, Zach was asking for a map of the
Yeah.
Hamlet neighborhood.
While he's doing that, Ted, you had a comment? Yeah.
Yeah, can you do that? Oh,
I got it.
Yeah, you had unmuting blocked, so I couldn't do it myself. A comment and then a suggestion. The comment is perhaps I could limit it to 2 words: rural character. There is a reason why there are setbacks to preserve rural character. And yeah, and I think that procedurally, Greg has pointed out the hassle you're going to have if you make a substantial change. If you really think this is important, I think you should put it for the next round and you can discuss it without being under pressure and without being forced to do something right now. Just next round.
Okay.
That being said, I mean,
Did you get it?
I'll share this, but I do want to point out there is a sustainable hamlets revitalization plan that Danby had worked on 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It does call for, I mean, there is a rural character kind of overarching sentiment in town, but the hamlets do act a little bit differently. They're their own place. And the vision for the hamlet is to create hamlet scale development, which looks different than other zone districts in town.
Yeah. In fact, the overall game plan was the focused development in the hamlets and the way to get more housing in the hamlets is to make less space required for each one.
Blake is letting me share my screen right now.
Yeah. So if I can figure that out. Like having realized that it's better that he controls.
If I figure out how to. Know how to,
Yeah, if you click on, you should be able to.
And what would happen if, you know, in the core, if it was 10 feet on all, you know,
Joel might.
sides and rear?
I can make it great.
I mean, I think the 60 also was to get people to consider, you know, having the buildings towards the front
Yeah.
instead
You
of,
can do that with
you know,
a minimum front
Yeah.
setback rather than a maximum rear setback.
Yeah.
So here is the central, so it's the tan is the Hamlet neighborhood. So just starting from the south, from Danby Road, this
Yeah.
is Michigan Hollow. Up Bald Hill towards Jennings Pond,
Yep, up to Jennings Pond Road.
all the way
right?
to Jennings Pond, yeah.
and
Oh,
then
wow.
up
Oh,
to
it's
Hornbrook
Yeah.
to the highway department entrance.
Yeah, basically from the slope, yeah.
Up Gunderman partway.
Yeah.
And then out to Miller Road and a few properties north of West and East Miller.
Yeah.
And then in West Danby, it is a little bit more concentric. Starting with sort of the fire
Fire.
department, and then going north, sort of going up Maple Ave, Station Road to the creek in the rail bed.
Railroad track, basically.
Yep, Olive Brown Road, a little bit to Short Valley View. So I'll go back up to Central because I know that it's a little bit more. People are more, well, a lot of people are more familiar with that sort of area.
Oh, this is. At least as familiar with the other.
Well, I mean, to me, in some ways, it's reminding me of the last time we did a major overhaul. And with the understanding that there were gonna be things that would come up that we needed to change.
Yeah.
Signs, like, you know,
Yeah.
other things. And, you know, if we go with these changes, we can pay attention to setbacks and
Mhm.
when it is a problem, when it isn't.
I remember the discussion we had about this during the review.
Uh-huh,
And one of the things, I remember pointing out that historically, the hamlets, even though the roads were lined fairly densely with houses, rarely is it the case that somebody has houses behind them. In other
Right.
words, there are few enough roads that
Right.
everybody was out on open space, one way or another. And I think that the rear setback may be sort of a bow in the direction of maintaining some of that, not looking right in somebody's back. Yeah. That said, there are examples in West Danby, I can point to on my street, where there are houses behind. So, it's not like it's unprecedented that they would do it differently, but generally speaking, that was the historical pattern. Because typically it was every once in a while it was a farm, and they owned the land behind, and then there were other houses along the street, but with lots. But we're looking out on the farmland behind or the woods behind, and not onto. But at some point, where you transition from that rural hamlet to something more like a town, then you do get those other streets. So if we're pointing in that direction, we would allow for lesser backyard.
It's a lot of space.
It is a lot of space. It's enough for garden.
It is enough for a garden.
But I mean, we're not, if we were to make it less, we're not requiring anybody to make it less.
No.
we're just giving people the flexibility to adjust for the circumstances, including the topography in our case, in siting buildings.
So I think the question for us is, does anyone feel like this is worth making a change and extending the public hearing?
Yeah.
Or do we feel like this is not worth that change and move it forward as it is and consider this for the next round of changes?
Yep,
I think that's sort of the main piece.
Yeah. Well, and I would say beyond that, I wonder if continuing the hearing would suffice, and whether it wouldn't be better to have a rehearing, because I think if we like eliminate the setbacks altogether or only keep them on the front, that could arguably be a substantive change and require a rehearing. And also re-notification of the, you know.
Would it be a rehearing? I don't know what the difference between a rehearing versus just a continuing hearing. I guess, is it just because there's substantive changes that it's a whole new proposal and it's just.
Essentially, yeah, I mean, if the change is substantive, then you basically treat it as if it was a new proposal.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the hearing will get closed tonight, and then we're gonna do a hearing for the 1st of March, first week.
Yeah, we close it anyway, we can reopen it, but I think Guy would advise that, you know, that the most defensible way to treat it would be, if we want to make a substantial change like that, we give we give due notice to the public that we're proposing something somewhat different, and they have an opportunity to comment on it before we make a change. I would support doing that, but I will confess that I have some interest in how it turns out, because I want to rebuild the house next door to me. And to do it, I want to expand it to the back. And that rear setback is going to send me to the BZA. If we eliminated it, then I wouldn't have a problem.
Then don't vote on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined, I mean, unless Greg has strong feelings about it, I'm inclined to go with these changes and then to pay attention to any issues that come up with the setbacks, with the notion of, with the understanding that they may need to be, that might need to be revised, the setbacks.
I mean, I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. I think just seeing how this process is, that there's a lot of effort into package up a local law. I mean, we've been sort of preparing this since since fall and everything. So amending the local law, amending the zoning is never just an easy task. There's always a lot of process that goes along with it, and just to be very deliberate and not rush it. So there's that, and then two, I mean, I did bring it up in the regulatory review committee of, are these setbacks anti-hamlet scale? I know, are they a little bit too large? I mean, as I said, most people in Danby probably think that they're very small, and I'm about to move into White Hawk and I'm gonna be 15 feet from my neighbors. We live on lots that are 37.5 feet wide at the front and 50 feet in the back. They're a trapezoid. Most people don't really, probably don't want to live that way here, and they choose to live in Danby, but it does provide flexibility, and it makes lots a little bit more usable, and some people do want to live in that kind of close proximity to others.
Doesn't it actually maintain rural character?
What?
By keeping development out of the outside areas and having.
Well, yes, I would agree with that. I mean, that was the whole point of making it down zoning the rural zones and then focusing development in the hands of it. So if you're going to focus it, you're saying it's going to be less rural there,
right?
So I would, I think that if we agree that the change is desirable, I think it's also desirable to make it as part of this package rather than put it off. It's going to be a while before we do another one, you know. And I support doing it.
Well,
Well,
you have a,
That's the interest.
yeah, yeah.
But I did anyway.
yeah.
It seems
I
that
mean,
I
it makes sense
wonder,
anyway.
Yeah.
What?
I was gonna say that Joel might be able to make the motion for the amendment, but probably when the final vote comes, would have to recuse himself. I'm thinking about just the process of,
Yeah, well, you know,
Right.
the rule on it is, if I were differentially to benefit, which is to say it would benefit me more than somebody else, then I should recuse myself.
Right.
But I wouldn't be differentially benefited if we change the setback.
You'd be benefited as much as anybody else.
Right.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly, yeah. In the zone, yeah. So,
I would recuse myself, but I just like recusing myself.
you're right, yeah.
If we have enough people voting.
Anyway, you want to propose?
What am I proposing?
You could propose eliminating the setbacks altogether.
I am terrified to say that, and I don't know if that's entirely right. I mean,
No, these are the fire separation.
for fire separation, but you know, I would say in the neighborhoods, there is something to be considered about having enough light. Like that, say 25 feet or 20 feet
Sorry?
back,
Oh,
having some infiltration, cross flow.
we're talking about front setback.
No, I'm talking about back setbacks.
Oh, back.
The back.
So you're talking 25 feet in the Hamlet neighborhood zone,
Sure,
and in the Hamlet zone, the Hamlet core,
I would just take
take
it
it
off.
off together. I'll second that.
does that include the front setback? So the front setback right now is being proposed and modified from,
It's 10 feet.
right, are you
10
saying keep the 10-foot front setback?
10th, I think
And
that
then
is
the rest of it.
crucial to have at least that, because if you just have houses face to face, you can still have a walk between them, and you have enough room to put porches, and it creates a space that can foster community.
So you're suggesting getting rid of the,
All the,
side and the rear setback?
yeah,
Oh, right, in the Hamlet core,
sure.
keep the front setback. And in the Hamlet neighborhood, have a, keeping the, what about the front and side in the Hamlet neighborhood?
Sounds like you wanted to keep the front of 10 feet, keep the side of 10 feet, but reduce the back from 60 to 20.
25.
25.
25 seems,
Hamlet neighborhood.
it's a number. I mean, as reading, that seems like a,
They don't, I mean, they're not, I have
It's just a number.
no red flags are going up in my mind of,
Yeah.
of these changes. I think they're still fairly conservative for a hamlet, for really envisioning a little bit of a denser hamlet.
Mhm.
Could I ask for a clarified summary?
I'm gonna say, I'll make sure you get it right now.
Yes.
We're talking in the Hamlet neighborhood zone, keeping the front setback, having the side setback, what was the word on that?
Front and side 10,
Front side 10,
This Hamlet
25
neighborhood.
and back.
Rear 20.
25, there's the Hamlet neighborhood.
Okay,
Setbacks
then
are 10,
Hamlet
10,
core.
25.
eliminating them except for the front.
Right, so in the Hamlet core. Yeah, you need, hold on. And I can,
I mean, does this also mean that somebody could put a shed in right up against the,
Property line?
Property line.
these are accessory buildings. So we still look at they're accessory buildings. Accessory buildings do have their own setbacks,
They do.
yeah.
Think about the
Yeah.
primary dwelling, you're up against the line, but you couldn't put a shed there.
Well, I mean, that's inviting a little bit more discussion on, so accessory buildings have their own section in the code.
right,
If they're under 12 by 12, they gotta meet 5 foot setbacks.
Hmm.
If they're between 144 and
Yeah.
1,000 square feet, gotta meet 10 foot
10 foot.
setbacks. Over 1,000 is 50 foot setbacks.
Yeah. It's a little weird, but I don't see a compelling reason to change it.
So we had 10 in the Hamlet neighborhoods with a 25 rear, which is the change.
Yep.
And in the Hamlet
Yeah.
core is something different happening?
Yeah, they're all different, and they're eliminating the setback altogether except on the front.
So the front would be 10, side and rear would be 0.
For fire separation, whichever governs, but
What I'd like to do if this does go forward as reworking this local law and we agree on something, I would like to talk with Steve Courtwright about
Mhm.
the realities
Oh,
of
yeah.
that and just like from his perspective. It'd be nice to talk right now about that, but
mhm. So that was a motion. I'll second it, I haven't already.
You did, yes.
Want to talk about it anymore?
Well, it just sounds like we're proposing these changes and also asking you to move forward with like notifying and setting up the next public hearing unless Steve has problems with this, right?
if there's something, right, if there's something that's just, we're completely missing, that would impact this. But otherwise, yeah, it would be closing this public hearing. Well, I guess it was already
Already
closed.
did.
It would be rescheduling a public hearing. I would suggest at least 30 days from now to give the county, they always want 30-day
Yeah,
notice. I would send it to them tomorrow.
We
And
need
then-
to, it would be good for us to notify the public in the newsletter as well.
Right.
Yeah,
So that means
Okay.
putting into next month's meeting schedule.
Notifying state parks again, county, public,
Yeah.
the journal.
And aiming to have it come back to us the first meeting in March, if that,
If that lines up,
Do we want that or?
or the second meeting.
March, probably.
I'm not trying to rush it, I'm more just trying to.
No,
be fair
yeah.
about
No,
it.
no, right.
I mean, if it's gotta be 30, I mean,
We want to give adequate space.
Yeah.
so
And
March
March
17th,
17,
Yeah, it would need to be the second meeting.
is it St. Patrick's Day?
it is.
Oh, which-
That is fantastic day. Not a national holiday.
Or green and.
Yeah. So the motion is to make those, is it a combined motion? To read, make those changes and then propose the whole thing to the public and reconsider it for the new public hearing scheduled for the 17th.
Okay,
I would ask that the motion be altogether remade, moved and seconded again. Just for clarity, please.
Okay, you want to?
No.
Well, shall I?
Yeah.
I move that we amend the proposal so that it has the setbacks previously listed, and that a public hearing be held on March 17th after appropriate notifications, so that we can reconsider the matter. Okay.
sounds good.
All right. Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yeah.
Gagnon?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Before we just move on to the next agenda item, is there anything else though, while we're reopening this back up, is there anything else in the draft law as written that maybe you want to revisit again, not to open, but just curious, right? Well,
I'm content with it.
okay.
Anybody else? It was a really well-considered package.
The only other thing that
Would the ODA end up on a map?
you have to show me that, and no, that, and this would be good to add, and I've been reading more about those since you made that comment. An ODA is an open development area. And they're approved by the town board. It has, there's certain,
There's only one, right?
I've never actually, yeah, it's the town board approved basically an open area where development can happen that where it doesn't quite meet certain requirements, I think related to state code about.
The main
Driveway access.
difference is that instead of having requiring frontage, you
Right.
can have access by driveway. or
Driveway.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be then recorded. Also, so are cluster subdivisions. I've been they're supposed to be recorded on the zoning map. But if you could send me that, I can add that.
Okay,
to
it was
the-
250 Marsh Road.
Okay,
I mean,
I'll
Yes,
note that.
it's basically the Windsor property,
part of,
part of it.
What I was gonna bring up was that if you noticed in the county's letter, which they basically said they're always reviewing for intermunicipal impacts. Does this change have any intermunicipal impacts? But they often provide a comment. And their comment was, we suggest saying, they didn't specify exactly where, but I could construe that we're talking about the setbacks and the front yard setback. Because the modification is to get rid of the maximum setbacks and just have minimum 10-foot setback measured from the edge of pavement. They said that the town should add in the qualifier, in no case shall these setback requirements require or allow any structures to infringe upon the right of way of any public road. So that would be added into the Hamlet neighborhood and the Hamlet center for the front setback.
Well, the trouble is, the width of the right of way is not a given. So that's the problem. They're presuming and they're pushing the idea that the right of way is a fixed width, and it's not. It's a variable. So that's one of the reasons we studiously avoided using the edge of the right of way as a criterion for the setback. I mean, I can tell you on Station Road that the right of way is at something like 75 feet at the intersection with 3496, and more like 30 feet in other places. And how the heck are you going to do it using the edge of the right of way without saying, well, here's where there is. It's as wide as use as established, and that is a problem in itself, because in order to establish use, the county has been taking over time more and more of the road, widening the road every time they ditch, every time they work on it, every time they repave it, repave to wider widths, they extend their shoulders, extend the ditches, and so Rhonda's got this thing currently where she's been fighting with the county of what's happened to South Danby Road, which was 14 feet wide in 1934, and is now, just been expanded. And the county is, taking out trees and stuff to a 50-foot width, which they do not own and cannot rightfully claim without paying for it. And they didn't. So she's arguing that you don't own it, it's ours, and you're acting like it's yours. It's a right of way. People own to the middle of the road. And the public has use of it to the extent that it's necessary and has developed and evolved over time. So, I mean, on Station Road, those of us who are close don't want to see the same, wow, it's 50 feet wide. It would be practically in my bedroom window if you did that,
So that was just the suggestion from the county to add that language in. The town doesn't need to add it whatsoever. It could also, instead of saying right away of any public road, you could say right away of any town road or state road and forget about the county, or just not add it in, but I'll just leave that. I'm bringing that up as and it could be a simple, it could also just be something added in when it's, at the public hearing. You could say, I make an amendment to add this language that the county suggests then, and they could just.
that was also a solution, we don't have to.
Correct.
Well, that's the thing,
Does not have
the
to do it.
county doesn't have land use regulatory authority, so they can ask us to do it, but we don't have to do it.
But I would say though that, because I did this for another municipality, when there was a conflict with the setback and the right of way, the town setback said, let's say 10 feet measured from the edge of pavement. Well, the right of way was 30 feet back. as planners, we still regulate it to the right of way. Because I'm not gonna permit a structure into the right of way. So
Well, when
even
you
if
have a
it's
defined
not,
right of way,
what's that?
if you have a defined right of way.
Right, so even if this language wasn't in there, I mean, when I saw the comment, I initially thought, we don't, it's not necessary because. As a planner, as a planning board, we would look at the property map and see and take a survey and see, you know. Okay, your property line is further from the edge of the road than the setback requires. We're still gonna, we can't permit a structure outside of your property, essentially.
The property goes to the middle of the road. Except in those places where a right of way has been in fact deeded to the town.
Sure.
Which is the case in our subdivision, you know, in Old Town Village, in Fieldstone Circle.
Millstone.
There is a 50-foot deeded right of way that the town, so the town has 50 feet. You say the edge of the right of way is 50 feet. You know, people's lawns run over into that and stuff, you know, they do, but we have it in feet, or we do not when the road was established through use. And it's, the county ran into this problem on Connington Road
Oh, yeah.
a few years ago, where they wanted to widen it towards the Ithaca end.
right.
And take down a bunch of trees and, you know, make the road wider. And the residents took them to court saying, you don't own that. You know, you never bought it. You have no right to take these trees down and make the road wide. And they won.
Yeah.
Because the right of way was not. Yeah. And not only that, there's a presumption in law that if it's a tree, it's more than, I forget, 8 inches, 10 inches, something like that. It's presumptively not in the right of way because the public hasn't been using it for a road, you know. The county doesn't rely on that. I mean, they've been taking, I don't know if you drive up Bald Hill Road, they took a lot of trees out here recently.
Yeah.
Off the right of way, you know.
So how about this? Right now, the local law as drafted does not, well, I actually went in and added this language because I thought that maybe it would be accepted. And if it's, I can remove it. And if there is if somebody wants to make a motion to add this language in and it's seconded and it's passed. But I'm, you know, until then, it can just come out. It doesn't need to be part of it. It's just a suggestion from the county.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't say anything about the majority. They often say you have to do, you know, the board has to have a majority of votes to.
Or supermajority. Yeah.
To not do this,
Yeah.
But they didn't add that clause in with this one, so. I'm not hearing anybody jumping at, we should add that language in,
No.
so I'm gonna remove it from this draft.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
If you felt strongly, I'm sure we could wordsmith it such that it avoided this particular issue and got to their thing, but if nobody wants
Yeah.
it, then. we can-
Yeah.
no.
Okay, so we've,
You voted to amend the language, and
And have a public
Can
hearing.
we rehear it?
re-notify.
in March 17th, okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for.
Yeah.
Next up,
Oh,
the acknowledgement of the appointment of second deputy town clerk.
Yeah.
So there was a inadvertent failure to notify associated with our having a new clerk and the press of things with the trainings and stuff. Julia Hughes helped out with tax collection. And we're acknowledging sort of after the fact that we needed a second deputy clerk to help with that. So I move that we so acknowledge.
I'll second that.
All right,
Okay.
Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Proof?
Yes.
Canyon?
Yes,
Thank you.
cybersecurity insurance contract. Policy amount is up modestly, but the associated fees have increased so that the overall increase is only 24%. But it's still relatively modest. I signed the contract because it was based on the authorization you gave me at the organizational meeting, because the expiration would have been January 31st. So we're just authorizing the payment So I move we do that.
And this is for 1 year.
Yeah. With the same company, Tokyo Marine.
Maybe if we remember, we can shop around next year, but I'm fine with just doing this and then looking
Yeah,
ahead.
When we did a lot, I mean, it was shopped around.
Yeah,
actually.
well, just if the prices go up, maybe we'll.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the increase in the policy modest.
Oh, okay.
Typically, a little over $1,000. I almost put the last year's contract in just so you could compare, but it went from like 1,081 to 1,181, something, $150 difference, something like that. So was there one?
You moved it. There's
Second, I'll second.
Any other discussion? Okay.
Connors,
Yes.
Dylan,
Yes.
Larkins.
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Gagnon,
Yes.
thank you.
Information is very much.
Yeah, so this makes I didn't know that Laura wouldn't be here because it would be relevant and helpful to have her here for this, but I'll sort of say my piece anyway. So we just did this training last week, 2 weeks ago. And a lot of it was on financial oversight. And I actually asked a few questions because I was having trouble lining up what they are saying, what sort of this Office of State Controllers are saying we should be doing as our sort of the town board's duty with the documents that I've been seeing us get. And I sort of narrowed it down to the fact that I don't know that we are getting all of the documents in order to properly oversee the town finances. And it might just be that no one's asked for them before, or that Laura's gotten into a pattern and the town board hadn't asked for it in the past. But I would like to see a greater level of detail in the reports that we get each month. For example, I did ask if it's customary for town boards to get spreadsheets as opposed to proper reports, and that is not customary. I think that mostly what we get each week is a spreadsheet, which means that information is either being inputted directly there or copied, but it doesn't necessarily, we don't know that it reflects what's actually in our books.
Right.
And
That's what
that,
Providence was.
right, but I have come to understand that most town boards are getting reports from Williamson directly. And I think that we should be seeing those. And if there's a reason that we can't see them, we should have a conversation about that, because that feels like a gap. And me as a new town board member, I feel like I don't know that I have enough information to do the duty that I'm supposed to do. So it's both, I'd like to see reports, and maybe if that adds a big time commitment, maybe we just see those reports once a month instead of every 2 weeks. Like maybe there's a balance. I don't want to overburden Laura.
Yeah, we did, and that's what we have come to is dividing into two pieces, where one, you get sort of an overall snapshot of the finances, and the other one, you get the account analysis and say, how are we doing with regard to the spending effect with respect to what's in the budget.
Okay.
Is the focus for the other one. So
I believe they're both spreadsheets.
yeah, well, yes, they are.
Yeah.
I believe Williamson Law Books can just produce
They
a
can,
budget to
and I
actual.
asked the person from Williamson, I'm like, because at the booth, he had a whole screen set up. So he was able to show me what the report looks like, and what we're getting is not coming from Williamson.
No, it's
And
true.
And there might be reasons why what we're getting is better in terms of a nice summary, or it's, structured in some way. But I would feel more comfortable if I knew for sure that what we were doing up with, or what we're approving is lining up directly with what's in the books. And the other piece is, and I think this is what you said we are getting, but I looked through a lot of the documents even from 2024, and I'm not seeing that the board is getting monthly amounts, for example, what's in our investment account or what's in the reserves. Like, I know that I asked Laura a couple of questions. I know that we have reserves for different things related to the highway. I have not been able to see anywhere what is the balance in those and how it changes over time. And so I feel like there are some pieces that are missing, and I would have preferred to, ask Laura directly, but I would like to change the structure, or to ask to change the structure of the reports that we're getting, if it's not every meeting and every month. And maybe this is sort of a, we can have a discussion and also we should have a discussion with Laura.
Yeah, sure.
And ultimately, I guess the request is to you, since you are
Right.
overseeing Laura, and I guess she would you would ask her and she would produce those reports, I
Right.
think is how it goes.
Yeah, that's correct. And you're right about the, what's mandated is basically a statement of accounts. And that has not been a regular part of the reporting.
Yeah, and I think, on one hand, I know there are certain times a year people get behind. On the other hand, it shouldn't become regular that we don't have direct access, not physical access, that we don't have direct reports. I think that if it started to get too long, more than a month or two out of a year, that things are too far behind, that to me would feel like we were not adequately overseeing the finances.
Yeah, I understand. And I'll be speaking to the bigger picture here a little bit later in the meeting.
Okay. So I guess without Laura here, I don't know that there's much else we can do.
Well, you're talking to me and
Yeah.
Laura works for me,
Okay,
so we'll work on it.
okay.
Credit card policy revision. This grew out of, some of the things that the controller's office audit faulted us for doing or not doing. They faulted us for not following our credit card policy. And they were right on that one, because first of all, we haven't looked at it in years. And secondly, it turned out we've never followed the policy, ever. And it did not reflect the way we currently operate or have ever operated, as near as I can tell. So it precipitated the obvious question was, well, we ought to change the policy to reflect the way we actually do things, and maybe step it up a little bit so that it better addresses how we ought to do things. And Leslie and I and Laura spent a good chunk of time thoroughly focusing and redrafting policy. And you now have seen the results. And if you looked at the markup version, you saw how much it changed. But I think that what's currently proposed is the way we do it, and I think in the way we ought to do it as well. And do you agree? And I guess for purposes of discussion, I move that we adopt the revised policy.
I'll second that. I mean, the major changes are getting rid of the number of cardholders,
That's what precipitated the whole thing.
and, that it was only the designated cardholders who were supposed to be using the cards. So it sort of pulled out the designated cardholder and the user, which might be different. And having them, people who are going to use the card sign that they read the policy and that they'll follow it.
Yeah.
Those are what I think are the big changes.
Mhm. There's a lot of little ones that are substantive as well.
Yeah.
For the first time, it specifies, who issues the cards. When you're supposed to hand them back in again, if you know they're eligible to use them, who's keeping track. It all falls on the bookkeeper to keep track.
Well, the receipts go to the town clerk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's a process thing too. It just also goes with how it's processed.
I think that I looked through it and the only question I had was actually about that between the bookkeeper and the town clerk.
Mhm.
Under statement and payment procedures, it says the credit card statement will be reviewed and reconciled by the town clerk. The town clerk must review the statement. and all supporting documentation. I wanted to make sure that's actually how we're doing it. Is it currently, it's the town clerk doing those tasks, or is it Laura doing those tasks right now?
It's the clerk.
It is?
It's the clerk.
Okay, that's fine.
So it was not
wasn't
always
sure.
the case, though. I mean, and what it is that the handling of the bills for processing is a clerk office function. And it hasn't always rested in the clerk because there were times when the clerk was sort of overwhelmed. And Laura took it over in order to help out. That was the case for quite a while after Alex, started with Alex, I think, and carried through for a couple more clerks. It was during Mariah's reign that we, after we hired Julia, we managed to get it switched back to the clerk's office because Julia did it.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, which is where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's what I wanted to understand.
So this spells it out how it's supposed to happen.
I didn't have any other comments about it. I thought it was good.
And thanks. Okay, ready?
All right, Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Canyon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. The Association of Towns resolutions. Want to go through them individually or?
No.
No?
I mean, people have a chance to read through them. I mean,
I did.
some of them are ones that always are on it. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory. If you read the background, usually that's more
Mhm.
helpful than reading the whereas and the resolve.
Well, oftentimes they're somewhat redundant.
Yeah, yeah. But, I mean, the main thing that we, if there was anything that people did not want us to support, to highlight that.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything that was unreasonable.
objectionable. Neither did I.
Yeah, thought they all looked good.
So, I mean, there's things that didn't make the cut. Those at the bottom.
Oh,
Referred to
that
staff.
the staff are gonna do, yeah.
But they're not gonna come
Speed
before.
limits on town roads.
Yeah,
too.
right. They're not gonna come before the group.
Yeah,
So I move that we instruct our delegate and alternate if necessary to support the proposals that will be before the town Association of Towns meeting.
I'll second.
Okay?
Connors?
yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Canyon?
Yes.
Yeah.
The snow and ice contract. The town plows many of the county roads
Yeah.
under contract. In the past, we did it on a time and materials basis,
Right,
which required us to track.
Yeah.
You know, how much material we used, how many hours, guys are out there doing the plow. The county, in an effort to simplify the process, offered, starting a couple of years ago, an option of simply contracting on, to do it with a fixed price and go with that. At this point, Keith is proposing that we adopt the contract of the county where we do it their way, as suggested by them, instead of the way we had been doing it with time and materials. We've been still tracking time and material just to make sure that it comes out reasonably fair. But he's willing to do it. The contract is for 2026, so we're already into it, and we should have approved this a long time ago, but.
right.
And you keep saying, can you sign it? Well, in the contract, it says, the board approved. So I said, well, the board needs to approve that. So, so I move that we approve the contract and authorize me to sign it. And Keith,
Well, second,
I have a question.
sure.
It says this agreement made the first day of October 2025. So
Yes.
obviously that's gonna change.
Um,
Or are you gonna,
sign it. Well, I mean, it was the agreement was drafted back in October.
okay,
It also says, well, it's got an effective date too, doesn't it?
well, I think it's for the 25-26 season.
Yeah. It's overdue,
Got you.
and they would have, signed off on it, except that it had that provision in it where it says the board approved it. So the wrong, we need to do that.
Well, let's get her done.
Okay,
Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Canyon?
yes,
Thank you.
and we have it, it is our custom to have the community agreements come to the board for approval. And the community science agreement is ready to go. So I move we approve the agreement with Community Science Institute for 2026.
Second that. About $100 more than it was last year.
Yes, I think it was a 2%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 4,552.
Pretty modest. Ready?
Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Canyon?
Yes.
Thank you.
I was hoping Laura might show up by now. She said she might, but it didn't happen. If you haven't heard, Laura's looking to retire. So we have been in discussion, and I have been exploring options. There's a bigger picture discussion that needs to be taken into consideration because a lot of the, including what you noted, Laura's had too much on her plate for a long time, inherited her being stretched. And she's so committed to minimizing the expense to the town for the services that she's been providing, that she has been resistant to adding help for as long as I've been supervisor. And it was a great help when I convinced her to have Julia.
Yeah.
And that solved a lot of problems that we're having with bill processing, and especially with timely credit card processing. So here we are with the endpoint approaching here. So we had discussions about how to, how many people do we need to replace Laura? And Laura wants to stay on for at least for a while as the secretary to the highway department.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that leaves behind the bookkeeper and the assistant to the supervisor, the combination of which is less than a full-time position. It's full-time for Laura because she's doing all three. I'm proposing that we expand those to full-time positions in order to better address the needs and in order to make the person taking that position eligible for health insurance, which they're not as a part-timer. And this is consistent with not using Julia, not expanding Julia's role because she's limited in how much time she can spend for another 3 years before she's reached full retirement age. And it doesn't need or want, greatly expand.
More hours.
Yeah. I mean, she takes some more. Frankly, I'd like to see her spend more time helping Steve do more by way of enforcement, which is what I had hoped would happen in part because she has been, her time is now allocated in part to support for code and planning. So with that in mind, sitting patiently in the audience here tonight is Rebecca Corby, who is my choice to succeed Laura.
Why is Rebecca your choice?
because I've come to know her, she has been assisting me in my non-town.
Is she a bookkeeper?
She has some bookkeeping experience. And her background, and it's not, and it's a position that can be trained to. We investigated whether there are civil service requirements. This position, because the bookkeeper is an at-will employee of the supervisor, is exempt from civil service requirements. There are recommendations, but not requirements. So I'm free to hire someone and train them to the position. Laura is more than willing to work with Becky to transition her into this role. And I'm confident in her ability to take it on.
Okay, which both the bookkeeper and assistant?
Mhm. Yeah,
I was curious about that too. You said to make it into a full-time, is that increasing the bookkeeper to be a full-time, or they each half?
oh, that's a detail we did not yet discuss.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, right, what it amounts to is adding $10,000 to the position in order to bring it up to full-time.
Yeah.
So
It's a combined bookkeeper.
Yeah,
So
so somehow,
assistant.
divided between the two somehow.
And we
Right,
did
so
full.
the bookkeeper is 35,000?
It would bring the total up to 51.
For the two positions.
So the two.
Is there a reason to keep them as two positions if you want to make them a full-time and you want them to be one person? It just seems a little overly complicated, but that's not the most important.
Well, it's an interesting question. I mean, it raises the question, how did it come to be the way it is? I don't know. I inherited it.
Oh,
The first hire was the bookkeeper. And that happened
Right,
when Rick became supervisor, I think. Previous to that, the town supervisor did the bookkeeping. Rick said, no way. I don't know when, and you've been around long enough, maybe you know, when the assistant supervisor was sort of added.
It was for the budget primarily?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of other things. I mean, the assistant of the supervisor does all the catch-up, basically, of the stat, which is not really the accounting and bookkeeping stuff. And it includes payroll, includes tax, managing the tax and tax filings, the HR functions, and interacting with the civil service system and keeping track. It's the retirement system interface.
personnel.
Yeah, well, it's part of personnel. And that is becoming even more of a big deal. The New York, we, Laura and I, have been meeting practically weekly for an hour and a half with the representatives from the New York State local retirement system in order to transition us from the current previous situation, which ended as of December 31st, where we only reported to the retirement system information about our employees who are in the retirement system. As of January 1st, we now have to report information on all of our employees, whether they're in the retirement system or not. So there's a lot of work in order to put everybody into the system, and that's happening. And that's just in case, I guess is the impetus, is that just in case somebody decides after they've been,
Which has happened. Yeah.
it's happened, employed by us for some time, that they change their mind about not participating and want to participate, and then you have to go back and look at the records and put it all in. That won't be necessary going forward because they'll already be in, so that they can just put them on. But it's a lot of work. So that has fallen to Laura to do that too.
I have argued that the town clerk is a full-time job, and the town clerk at a salary of 45,000 gets health insurance. And I would say that's a full-time job. So now we're saying that this bookkeeper is going to make more than the town clerk.
Mhm.
Okay, I find that absolutely appalling that the town clerk is, getting less than the
Well, I mean, this is the bookkeeper, we're getting more than town supervisor too, by a long shot. I mean, the elected position is mine.
Right.
You know, we have the question is whether or not we have the, well, what's appropriate compensation for me or Blake? And as opposed to the assistants there too.
Right, so currently the bookkeeper makes 30 something plus the 10,000 for the
Assistant too.
assistant too. Can we see how that goes? To just take on those responsibilities?
Well, except for the health insurance issue.
What is the health insurance issue?
If you're as a part-timer, you know, less than full-time, you would not be eligible for health insurance.
So what is the minimum hours? Is it 32 hours a week, 36
That's
hours?
what I thought, but it's not. And I wish Laura were here because she could address this better than I.
Right,
Because we had that discussion and just saying, well, you know, if you kept it the same, but did the number of hours at 40, if you did it at 40, the person would be making something like $18 an hour. That's way less than.
right, so if we
living
did it,
wage.
if she was doing it hourly and making $24 an hour, which is the same as the
24.82.
clerk office.
Right, at 24.82, if it were gonna be 40 hours, you would be it would be more.
Right, but it's not gonna be 40 hours, it's gonna be more like 32 hours.
Well, that's the question, because, you know, Laura's spending way more than, you know, well, with the other positions. And what the question is, you know, how much more time is needed in order to do what we do better, you know, to get the reports. And then, you know, I mean, in the 4 years, we've never filed the annual reports to the state on time. You know, every time it was, I think I can get it done. And every time there's been sickness or, you know, something's come up and it doesn't get done, you know, she's scrambling to play catch up whenever these things happen and putting in long hours, and even so, you know, we're not there. So I don't think it's realistic to expect somebody stepping into that position to be able to do it any more thoroughly with the same allocation of time.
I mean, unless we were hiring someone with municipal bookkeeping experience.
Well,
That
and
might change the, you know.
Yeah,
the thing.
well, and then that raises the question of whether you could hire such a person on a part-time basis for that kind of money.
Right. When you initially said that you were suggesting we bump it up to full time, my first thought was that would probably help us attract, you know, someone with, you know.
It would certainly make it more attractive to anybody to do that. And that's one of the reasons for doing it. You know, who knows how long, well, you know, I'm not gonna be supervisor forever, you know. And then whoever succeeds me will have to decide whether they want to keep Becky on or whoever's bookkeeper in the next, you know, just as I had to decide whether to keep Laura on when I took over. And it will make it easier for whoever's next, whether they want to keep Becky or not, to find somebody to do it.
I have no problem with having a full-time bookkeeper, but I also think that it should be the same salary as a town clerk. The town clerk gets healthcare.
Yeah, so the question in my mind is why wouldn't this person at that level not get healthcare? Because that was my impression talking a lot.
No, I think they should get healthcare.
Yeah. Well, I
Blake
think
gets
too.
healthcare.
Yeah. What's different? Well, he's elected. I don't know if that has relevance or not.
I think it's 32 hours a week.
Yeah. Well, I can't speak for it.
So it's 32 hours a week.
I believe,
45,
I think it's up to 48, actually.
40, for 48.
Is it to 48, your salary?
And,
Oh, yeah.
and we're
salary
talking,
is
and then
48.
full-time 51, it sort of feels comparable. Well, what's full-time is 37 and a half?
Something like that, yes.
I think for benefits, it's 32 hours a week is considered full-time. I'm not sure if New York State has
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
I think that sounds right, because I worked for a while for CCE, which is also under New York State, and Cornell Cooperative Extension, and I
Mhm.
got health insurance, and I think it was 32.
32, yeah. I also, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, this
Um,
is also sort of a few different things, they're intermingled, but
That's
there's changes to the salary for this role and or changes to the size of the role, meaning like the number of
Yeah,
full-time.
we just, I was looking at the bigger picture,
Right.
rearranging the furniture.
Right.
And actually, speaking of rearranging the furniture, Laura was the one who pointed out that we would also need to come up with another office in this building.
Well, right, that's part of this consideration is Becky can work from home. And in fact, would be. So that would solve the problem of where would you put her? Laura's been because Laura was highway secretary, she ended up doing the bookkeeping out of the highway department. And it's been suboptimal, all along, because it was just kind of, sometimes on the phone doing stuff for me that was kind of disruptive of the shared space with Keith. So Keith was saying they would, when this transition happens, they kind of to see that person be someplace else, which ways the question,
Well,
well,
she was originally in this building.
yeah, where would you put it here? Well, we got this one office across the hall, it's nominal in me, plus it's also where Julie's been doing the work and where Mary Ann does her work. And conceivably you could put her in there and everybody could all, but it wouldn't work for her anyway. So she's not only willing but wants to work from home. And why not? I mean, there's no reason why the bookkeeping function needs to be done here.
I will say, there's a lot of small interactions between the clerk and like the assistant to supervisor
Yeah.
or bookkeeper on either end. So having someone in close enough proximity is fairly important to me.
Yeah.
And I just would ask that be taken into consideration.
Mhm.
But a cog, it's okay.
Mhm.
You get reimbursed for mileage, so, but that is the kind of thing that, Laura is at highway and there have been times where, oh crap, we need something, let me just drive over to Laura and it only takes 10 minutes and we don't have to worry about,
If she can drop something off on her way home or something,
yeah.
Is Becky around?
She's
No. Does she live near?
she's down the street from me.
Okay.
Mhm.
I hate Bald Hill Road.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a sort of a gut feeling about, hiring somebody full-time and they're gonna work from home. Not sure why. But I think it would be helpful to have somebody who, works in the building or, some days in the building. But to, sort of 100% work from home, I'm feeling uncomfortable about that,
Yeah.
but.
In my own experience, as you know, I work from home, is that it has, and it's based on my previous experience doing work, it's really hard, it's always been hard for me to have work going on in more than one place. Seems like wherever you need, it's at the other place.
Mhm. Yeah. But I mean, this is, you know, the bookkeeper, interfaces with like all the staff.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, the bookkeeping interaction is me. You know, and in my interaction with Laura has always been on the phone. And never, well, not never, I mean, she occasionally come over, but, you know, we conference with during budget creation. And whenever there's an important matter to it can't be dealt with on the phone, which is rare. I mean, most everything can be dealt with
Yeah,
in either on the phone or via a video conference. The only awkwardness has been the getting a check signed sometimes. That's more my problem than it is a bookkeeping problem, but
I think making deposits, so there will be some travel, you know, because I think Laura has to make deposits. She doesn't have a automatic department. Maybe we can get her
we can fix that.
Yeah.
Which
So.
which is something that we've been trying to get to happen also. That's something Pat and Catherine were after Laura to do, was to
Right.
fix it so that she could do the remote deposits of
Oh,
checks. Um,
I'm sort of feeling like this is a huge, this
It's
is a huge thing.
It is a huge thing.
And what I'm wanting is a gathering with Laura there, to talk about what this would all look like.
Yeah, I'm sorry that Laura's not here.
No, but well, this is, I mean, it's, you know, a town board meeting. I mean, I'm feeling like we need a meeting to just talk about these changes.
Mhm. Something beyond.
Not to be just part of a board meeting.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that also, I mean, I know that this isn't a decision of the board to who to hire as the bookkeeper. There's a part of me that also wants to like see a few different resumes and talk about different skill sets, just because I feel like that's part of picking a good person for a position. But there's also an awkwardness about the fact that it's not technically the town board's role. I assume it could be, like you could bring multiple people and get feedback on who you would want to hire, but are not required to. But I guess like just to voice that feels like a little bit too, As in,
why didn't you do it that way?
I mean, it's also, this isn't done, so it's not necessarily why didn't you do it that way? Because maybe this is always how it's been done, but it could be.
But the board also sets a salary and
Yeah.
you know, is.
No, I mean, that's why
Position-
that's the larger
Maybe not
discussion.
who he would hire for the assistant to the supervisor. Bookkeepers totally hired by supervisor?
Both are.
Okay,
Both are.
both of them are,
Yeah, but-
okay, but you know, it's changes a lot of systems,
It does, which is why,
Yeah.
I think we needed this broader discussion about
right?
what's being done, because this is not the only way to do it. You know, there are other ways that it could be done, but making use of the people we've got and the talent that can be brought to bear. This makes sense to me.
I will note that there was a request to comment from.
Yeah, from Julie
Spencer.
Spencer. Julie Spencer, where did she go?
I think she put her hand down, but
It's babies by accident, if you took it back.
Maybe. Becky, would you like to comment? No.
Well, Becky, if you could give a 20 words or less on bookkeeping experience. What? Why is Ted pointing at me?
I don't know.
You have to ask her to unmute.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
I-
unmuted.
Sorry, I had to go through the hoops of unmuting myself. I had the bookkeeping experience. I've done front work and back work and everything in between in offices. I've sent in my resume that Laura has looked over and Joel has looked over. I have no problem with y'all seeing it. If anybody wants to pull it up, that's fine.
I can share a resume if you like.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to know that, you know, she speaks English and, yeah, I mean, no, you know, I'm sure it's okay if she speaks any other language, but, you know, it's nice, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry, I just don't want to I don't feel like it's my place when it's being discussed to jump in. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so I think the timing, training, all those things,
Which is why it's coming up. I'd like to commit to hiring her. Laura suggested that, you know, it's going to take a while to transition. I mean, having some overlap would be good for training purposes. Laura suggested allocating $10,000 for the overlap to get her trained.
yeah, I would agree with that.
And so when I said, well, where's the money going to come from? I said, well, that's what you've got the fund balance for.
Right,
Because it's an unanticipated expense, it's not in the budget.
right. But yeah, I think that's what the fund balance is for.
And I'd like to give her a town email. The controller's office has trainings and has, you know, Tommy among them. There are a couple of trainings coming up. They do them regularly, and I want to sign her up for March.
So it sounds like you are decided that you are hiring her. Because I think when you first brought it up, it sounded like it was more like an exploring, but now it sounds like it's decided.
It's pretty much decided that that's what I'd like to do. What was not decided and is still, you know, subject to discussion is whether or not what I propose about who's doing what is what we're okay with. You know, because it could be allocated differently. I mean, some of these, for instance, the HR function used to be with the town clerk. I'm not sure at what point how it ended up in Laura's lap, but it did, you know, she essentially become the HR department. There's nothing in town law or any of our things that says we have an HR department and it's Laura, you know, or the bookkeeper's job, or this is the supervisor's job.
Does, Rebecca, you go by Becky?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And do you have any HR experience?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
You're willing to learn?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Always, always.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm sure there's training.
Well, the training is called Laura.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
So is it, what, 6 weeks or so of training of overlap?
We didn't get that deep into the weeds
Okay,
either, you know,
alright.
only the Laura suggested, you know, $10,000 to help with
Okay.
the overlap.
It could be a
Laura's
couple months,
looking to
maybe.
retire, maybe in April.
Okay, sounds good.
See how it goes and, you know.
Okay.
So I assume training wouldn't be done from home, right? I mean,
I'm not sure that it wouldn't be.
She'd have to get Williamson's, she'd
Yeah.
have to get
Yeah, we have to
probably
set it up.
yeah, she'd have to get set up probably on a town computer.
Exactly. Town
You
computer.
know, I don't
We
know,
had talked
printer
about
for the
that.
checks. Maybe that can all be transported over to her house. Do you
Exactly.
have an office at your house, Becky?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, printing checks on the kitchen table probably won't fly, but you know.
In the office.
Um,
No, I mean, she has, we have talked about that, both with Laura and with Becky.
right,
And how we set it up.
right.
but the problem,
She's got a computer, she's got a
Well, she's gonna need a town
a
computer
printer,
and I think,
and I told her we'd probably have to have a town computer anyway.
I think TCNS might, cybersecurity might,
Set it up the same way they did me.
very good,
Mhm.
very good.
I would just note that there is a request to comment from Ted.
From Ted Crane. Oh, sure, go ahead, Ted.
Yeah, mute him.
Yeah, we know, Ted, just wait a minute.
Okay, I think you've already covered what I raised my hand about. with that, if you have someone working at home, you have to extend the security of your internal computer systems out to there, which
Yeah,
may be
exactly.
somewhat more complicated than the setup you have, Joel.
Well, it would be a little bit more complicated. Yes.
Julie Spencer, is it possible to unmute her? Because,
She did have her hand up earlier.
yeah,
And I think she sent a message. Like,
Did she? And Julie would like to speak?
Yes, hi. Maybe this was discussed already and I missed it, and I'm new to all this with the meetings, but do you not have to have an open interview for a position like that? Or somebody
No.
is just appointed?
No, you don't. Because it's my hire and not the town's. And this is an at-will employee of the supervisor.
it's all, there's a.
So
only a-
anybody,
There's a small number of roles that are like this, that Jill can appoint directly, that are not an open interview process.
interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's those, and there's the I think the deputy clerk is in the same position. As being a hire of the clerk.
Like the clerk can hire them, they don't have to post it widely and interview anyone that applies, because it's sort of a.
It's the same thing, I think.
I believe, I have to get my deputies all in order. Salary wise, it has to be set by, the board and stuff.
Well, that's in this case as well.
Yeah, I believe the appointment can be done and hiring can be done solely by the clerk.
Yeah, and then the board acknowledges the hire,
Yes.
so it's not the board's hire. We went through this whole organizational chart thing, we have some staff who are answer to the board and not to the clerk or to the supervisor, those being the planner and the code officer. Arguably, there's some ambiguous ones, like the snow shoveler, to whom the answer.
If anyone has the answer to that, let me know.
If you talk to him, he'll say, I work for Laura. But, the fact that I am not Steve's supervisor and then we are, makes it necessary that we, the board, provide the direction.
Maybe we could give that to Greg.
We could, that's one option.
I don't think. we're
Greg's
going
out.
to-
don't put
Greg's
anything
out
out.
there.
Well, actually, I'm not sure Greg's.
He's full.
He's got enough to do.
Yeah,
We need to really watch whether this position, just working from home, is workable.
What are your concerns?
Laura's usually accessible. Whether, people go to her at Highway or she can come here. I guess I would hope for more interfacing between people who work for the town. She's gonna have to train with Laura. Is Laura gonna go to her house to train?
it remains to be seen how this will work. But how much it needs to be in person, how much is not. We'll work it out. We can work it out.
Yeah, it would be good to also maybe set some benchmarks. I
Yeah.
guess I also have a little bit of a concern knowing that she's going to be trained by Laura, and Laura has struggled to keep up with that workload. There's a part of me that is worried I want to make sure that there isn't just training into how it's done now, but training into being more on top of things and being able to, and setting boundaries, which is also something that seems like it was hard for her to do, and saying what is or isn't her job, that's been a struggle. And so I wouldn't want that to just be passed on to the next person, but that I guess is just, I don't know, that doesn't change that it's a new person, that problem just persists or challenge.
Well, I mean, there's two things to be said about that. One, there's standardized training. So, you know, she'll be going through the controller's office training to the thing. And I share your concern about, whoever trains you is going to be, you're going to be trained how they do it.
Yeah.
But Becky's, I've worked with Becky enough to know that she's intelligent enough to forge her own path once she is, once you get the starting place. I think it'll work. When I say,
Okay.
so I move that we, first of all, that the board acknowledge the hire, and that we provide $10,000 from the fund balance to fund the transitional training.
I'll second.
Ready?
Okay.
I guess we haven't really defined what period of time that covers or how many hours that covers. I both don't know whether we are asking.
I think
someone
we'll get a tally of, maybe we can get a tally at every meeting of how many hours she's put into the training and what it is cost. And so when we get up to $5,000, we'll say, okay, presumably the amount of time that's passed, we're halfway there.
Yeah.
So I think if we can get a financial accounting of time spent, Becky's time spent, that'll help us to.
And I'm presuming that this training will take place at the hourly 2032.
Okay.
Yeah, we have in our commitment to the living wage.
We're gonna love your reports, Becky.
I'm done hemming and hawing.
She is good in English too.
What did you say?
She's good
She's
in
good in
English too.
English. Huh. No, his letter, excuse me.
Ready to vote? Okay, Connors,
I'm gonna abstain.
Larkin, or Dylan,
Yes.
Larkins,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yeah.
Gagnon,
Yes,
thank you all.
okay,
I would note that there are 2 minutes left.
Beautiful timing.
just enough for discussion of next meeting agenda. We got something coming back, don't we?
Meeting on,
All right, meeting with policies.
hopefully by then we'll have a credit card review checklist.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll have a special events law for
Our next meeting, yeah.
maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah, we'll have a work session, 2 days.
Thursday, right?
Might be ready for how to look at it.
Are you guys gonna have an update on auditors? You haven't spoken to the auditors yet.
Correct.
I mean, the main thing is to get some of the things off the table before we ask them what else.
Right.
What else?
Oh, it is
I mean, the
general.
credit card policy and the
We need to-
review, the town board auditing the credit card bills were issues, so hopefully we'll be able to have the threat assessment team mentioned. I mean, hopefully a meeting can be had between now and then.
And a general code update.
Oh, you mean the codification?
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the data security and privacy notification policy.
We can, we can look at it. I don't know if we want Guy to look at it first, or if we want to look at it first.
And, I would question.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not pushing for it because I think so. I just watched several, and actually at the training too,
Yeah.
that person Ingrid from the Office of State Comptroller, she has a list of
Yeah.
required policies and this is
Right.
on it. If you find that's not true from some other source, I'll drop it. I'm only bringing.
Well, I'm not sure we might want it anyway.
Yeah,
But the reference that was given as justification for being required specifically exempts towns. It's a policy that applies to state agencies.
I don't know. I had emailed you back to ask you what you're referring to, because I don't know where you got that reference to state agencies or state entities.
Well, I gave you in the email that I sent you, I quoted from the law.
Maybe I missed out.
Yeah, what it actually says, which is why I question whether it's necessary or not.
Maybe then it's a question for Guy to distinguish between what you're finding and what the state comptroller's office is saying. If he says we don't need it, then we'll drop it. I don't.
Well, we don't, like I said, we may want it anyway, but only that we don't have to. But I certainly got the impression from our discussions prior to our buying cybersecurity insurance that a policy on breaches was required of us. So I'm not sure where that came from. It was sort of mentioned, but it had to be some basis for it someplace.
Yeah.
Okay, we ran out of time and we ran through the agenda, so meeting adjourned.
Very good.
Background check on it?
what's